A night of unexpected reflection, a story of change and self-discovery. Share this video with friends and story enthusiasts and enjoy it. Engage in the comments and let your thoughts be known. Of course, don't forget to click the subscribe button on the screen to become a member of Inquisco, where you can immerse yourself in more captivating and authentic stories. The first time I encountered Adrian, he stood on my porch, a toolbox in hand, his eyes lingering on the delicate curves of the banister. For weeks, it hung precariously, and my husband James promised to mend it, yet the task remained untouched, lingering in the air like an unspoken secret. One enchanting morning, I resolved to put an end to my delicate dance around the creaky spot and dialed the number from the alluring handyman flyer nestled within our mailbox. "Charlotte," he inquired, his voice a soft murmur laced with an alluring accent. "Certainly," I replied, pulling my cardigan tighter around my body. As early spring graced the world, the morning air carried a tantalizing chill, hinting at the secrets yet to unfold. He offered a charming smile, his introduction laced with an air of intrigue. "Allow me to introduce myself. I am Adrian. Did you happen to mention the banister in your message?" "Indeed. Come this way." "Ciao," I beckoned, gracefully stepping aside to allow him to follow me to the porch. In the soft glow of the evening light, he appeared more youthful than I had anticipated, perhaps in his mid-30s, his warm brown skin radiating charm, and his sharp, contemplative eyes holding secrets that beckoned to be discovered. His raven locks danced playfully at the tips, teasingly escaping from beneath a well-worn baseball cap. He donned a simple gray t-shirt that embraced his sculpted form, paired with jeans that whispered tales of rugged adventures. As he examined the banister, I found myself captivated by the grace of his movements, purposeful and assured, as if he were well-versed in this dance of familiarity. I lingered in the shadows, torn between the desire to offer him a drink and the temptation to simply let him be, savoring the moment in silence. "This won't take long," he murmured, his posture shifting with a hint of anticipation. "The wood is in fine condition, merely requiring a touch of reinforcement to enhance its allure. I can have it completed in roughly an hour." "How delightful," I remarked, a wave of relief washing over me. "Do not hesitate to reach out if you desire anything at all." He nodded, a glint of mischief in his eyes as he began to retrieve his tools, and I gracefully retreated into the house, a flutter of anticipation dancing in the air. From the kitchen window, I observed him laboring, the melodic strike of his hammer shattering the tranquil morning air. His presence brought a sense of familiarity and ease to the quiet house. As he completed his task, he gently rapped on the door, a subtle signal of his presence. With a charming smile, he declared, wiping his hands on a soft cloth, "It should now be quite durable." I gracefully stepped onto the porch, my weight gently pressing against the newly repaired section, a thrill of anticipation coursing through me. It remained steadfast, unmoved by the allure of change. "Absolutely divine," I replied, a playful smile dancing on my lips. "My heartfelt gratitude to you." He nodded once more, a subtle smile playing at the corners of his lips. "Do share if there's anything more you desire." To my surprise, fate had other plans, and just a week later, I found myself drawn to the garage, where the door seemed to resist my touch. It was one of those seemingly trivial moments that I could have easily brushed aside, yet Adrian's number lingered on the fridge, a tantalizing whisper of temptation. Before I could dwell on the implications, my fingers danced over the keys, and I found myself dialing. He arrived the following day, and once again, he moved with a quiet grace, his efficiency almost mesmerizing. This time, I presented him with a glass of chilled iced tea, which he graciously accepted with a charming thank you. "Text, you have quite the talent for this," I remarked, watching him take a sip of his drink, lingering in the cool embrace of the garage's shade. "It's what I do," he replied, a hint of mischief dancing in his eyes as they crinkled at the corners. Though I had no obligation to stay, I felt an irresistible pull to engage in conversation with him as he meticulously gathered his tools. His attentive gaze enveloped me, making each word I uttered feel like a precious secret shared between us, as if he savored my thoughts rather than merely biding his time to respond. As he departed, The garage door whispered open and closed with a graceful ease, yet an undeniable tension lingered in the air. I convinced myself it was merely appreciation for a task completed with finesse, yet the reality was far more complex to acknowledge. As the weeks gracefully unfolded, life continued its familiar dance, each moment tinged with an air of intrigue. James was immersed in his work, the children were engrossed in their studies and myriad activities, and I found myself slipping into familiar routines. Sometimes my gaze would wander to the garage or porch, and Adrian would come to mind. Before long, another delightful complication emerged, this time concerning the back deck. The boards near the steps began to twist and sigh, their soft creaks echoing beneath me as I gracefully carried a basket of laundry or delicately tended to the flowers, each movement a dance of domesticity. My heart fluttered as I paused, contemplating the moment before dialing his number. It seemed rather whimsical, perhaps even a touch indulgent, to continually seek the same person for these small remedies. Yet, after lingering on the deck, my gaze lost in the weathered wood for what felt like an eternity, I succumbed to temptation and reached for my phone to dial his number. He made his entrance the following afternoon, his truck purring seductively as it rolled down our serene street. As I knelt amidst the blooming flower beds, the sound of his car gliding into the driveway sent a thrill through the air. "You're going to wear me out with all these projects," he teased playfully as he stepped out, his warm smile adding a tender charm to his words. "I'm delightfully occupying your time," I replied, gently dusting off my hands. "Always a delightful surprise," he murmured, reaching for his toolbox with a playful glint in his eye. The repairs lingered longer than anticipated, the boards revealing their hidden flaws, and by the late afternoon, he remained engrossed in his labor. I presented him with a delightful sandwich and a refreshing glass of lemonade, and soon we found ourselves nestled together on the steps of the deck, sharing a moment as he paused to savor the day. The dialogue flowed effortlessly, as it always did in his enchanting presence. He shared with me tales of his family in India, how he ventured to the States for his studies, and found himself captivated by the work that stole his heart. I shared with him the joy my children found in the backyard, how it became their cherished haven, and my desire to ensure it remained a sanctuary for their playful adventures. "You're fortunate," he murmured after a moment, his tone soft and intimate. "Your abode is truly enchanting, filled with warmth and the laughter of loved ones." I gazed at him, taken aback by the longing that laced his voice. "It may not be flawless," I confessed, "yet I make the effort." He nodded, his eyes lingering on the distant horizon. The sun dipped low on the horizon, draping the yard in a soft, golden glow that whispered of secrets and tender moments yet to unfold. It was a moment steeped in allure, one that seemed destined for two, and for a brief heartbeat, I pondered whether he sensed the same intoxicating connection. As he returned to his duties, I lingered outside, perched gracefully in one of the patio chairs, captivated by the way he navigated his tasks with an alluring confidence, his hands steady and assured. There was an enchanting quality to it, a charm that rendered the surrounding chaos a mere whisper in the grand tapestry of life. As he completed his task, the sky transformed into a rich, velvety blue, with the first twinkling stars daring to reveal themselves. He stood, delicately brushing the sawdust from his jeans, and turned to face me with an intriguing glint in his eye. "All done," he murmured, his voice slicing through the intimate hush that enveloped them. "Thank you," I murmured, rising gracefully to my feet. "Your presence has been nothing short of a delightful rescue." "It's my job," he replied, yet the gentle lilt in his voice suggested a more profound meaning lingered beneath the surface. I strolled beside him to his truck, the gravel whispering secrets beneath our feet. As he turned to bid farewell, our gazes intertwined, and for an instant, the atmosphere surrounding us thickened, brimming with an unvoiced intensity. "Do take care," he murmured at last, his voice a sultry whisper. I replied, my heart pounding as I stared at him fade into the distance. That evening, I reflected on the conversations and moments that had brightened my week. His eyes met mine briefly, as if acknowledging something unspoken between us. I whispered to myself that it was merely a fleeting encounter, yet within the depths of my heart, I recognized it was something far more profound. Just a week later, a delicate drip from the faucet in the upstairs bathroom began to tease the silence of the home. It wasn't urgent, just a subtle hint that I could have ignored, but I couldn't help but succumb to its attraction. I reached out to Adrian. He arrived the next morning, his truck gliding into the driveway just as the children departed for school. With James having departed for work, an enchanting stillness enveloped the house, casting an air of mystery in the absence of his presence. I welcomed him at the threshold, attempting to dismiss the fluttering excitement that surged within me at the mere glimpse of him. "This one should be simple," he said, a charming smile playing on his lips as I guided him up the staircase. "Delightful," I responded, attempting to maintain a playful air. "Your frequent visits have me considering a more formal arrangement for your delightful presence." He chuckled gently, the melody rich and inviting. I find no reason for discontent. I lingered in the doorway, watching him with a mix of admiration and intrigue, the rhythmic sound of the wrench turning breaking the stillness around us. The bathroom was intimate, the confined space amplifying my awareness of him, his graceful movements, and the subtle aroma of sawdust and soap that lingered in the air around him. "Would you be so kind as to pass me that towel, my dear Haunter Sonk Dietz?" he inquired, pulling me from the depths of my reverie. I moved in closer, my fingers brushing against the soft fabric of the towel as I extended it toward him, a playful glint in my eye. She handed him the towel, thanking him for his help. He gazed up, our eyes locking in a lingering moment where time seemed to stand still and the world around us faded away. "Thank you," he murmured at last, his voice a soft whisper, tinged with an air of intimacy. I nodded, retreating swiftly, my cheeks aflame with a delightful warmth. "I shall simply make my way downstairs," I murmured, withdrawing before I found myself crossing a line I could never uncross. I lingered at the kitchen table, gazing out the window, lost in a world that felt just beyond my reach. My thoughts danced, reliving that enchanting moment again and again. It was merely a fleeting caress, I reassured myself, yet the response of my body whispered secrets of a more tantalizing nature. As he descended the stairs, his demeanor held a captivating mystery, leaving one to wonder what thoughts danced behind his eyes. "All finished," he murmured, delicately wiping his hands on a soft rag. "Delightful," I responded, rising with a sudden grace. "Allow me a moment to retrieve my checkbook." "You needn't," he murmured, gently halting my advance. "This one is on me," I said with a playful smirk, my brow slightly furrowed. "You've accomplished so much already. I simply cannot allow you to continue without acknowledging your achievements." "I must insist," he declared, his tone both resolute and tender. "Very well," I conceded, my heart racing as I caught the intensity of his gaze upon me. Calm and unwavering, as if he could unveil every secret I dared to conceal. For an exquisite eternity, silence enveloped us both. The distance that once separated us began to dissolve. The room carried an unspoken understanding between us. The allure was undeniable, a subtle yet intoxicating energy that intensified with each encounter. "I suppose I must take my leave," he murmured at last, his voice shattering the enchanting moment. "Indeed," I whispered gently, retreating a step. He paused, his gaze lingering on me for a tantalizing heartbeat longer before he finally turned toward the door. I trailed behind, my heart constricted by an unspoken longing. As he graced the porch with his presence, he lingered for a moment, caught in the allure of the evening. "Should you ever find yourself in need, my door is always open to you." "Indeed," I replied, my voice a soft, tantalizing murmur. I observed him stride towards his truck, the sunlight illuminating the graceful curve of his jaw and the strong line of his shoulders. He slipped inside, the engine purring with anticipation, yet he lingered for a moment, savoring the charged atmosphere before making his escape. Instead, he cast a lingering glance at the house, his gaze settling on me framed in the doorway. For a fleeting moment, I wondered if he had something more to say, but instead, he simply nodded and left. Yet, as he engaged the truck into gear and glided out of the driveway, I remained there, heart racing and thoughts swirling with the tantalizing possibilities of what had nearly unfolded. As I crossed the threshold, the silence enveloped me, a haunting reminder of the absence that lingered in the air. I leaned against the door, my hands quivering with anticipation as I sought to calm my racing heart. The intensity of the moment lingered, a tantalizing reminder of how near we had danced to a line that could never be erased. It was a boundary we had yet to traverse, I whispered to myself. Yet, as I lingered in that moment, the recollection of his gaze and the lingering warmth of his touch remained intoxicatingly alive. I sensed it was a phrase that would linger in my thoughts, casting a shadow of allure for years to come. Gently tap the subscribe button displayed on your screen to join Inquisco and indulge in more captivating and authentic tales like this one.